Welcome to the next lecture. In this lecture, we will discuss on nutrient requirements calculation for dairy cattle, not only for dairy cattle, but a general principles of nutrient requirement calculation for other species of animal will also be discussed in this presentation. So, why nutrients are required by any animal, any species? So nutrients are basically the chemical substances which have some specific function in the nutritive support of the body. So this nutritive support is required for body maintenance, for body growth, or if animal is producing milk, meat, or egg, we have to provide nutrients for those functions. And if animal is pregnant, and particularly during the last trimester of pregnancy, more nutrients are required. So those nutrients are not required by the animal, rather they are required for the development of the fetus at that time. Similarly, if we are having animal which are being kept for draft purpose, or some of the animals they are kept for some special purpose like for fur production. In case of horse, they are used for racing purpose. So we have to provide nutrient according to their that particular function. So these are different type of functions which require nutrition. So next question is, from where we can get nutrient requirements, from where those information they are available. So in generally we say we can get these information from feeding standards. Feeding standards, these are the guideline in balancing ration and having a particular type of feeding practices. So they only give us a guideline in balancing the rations, and those guidelines they are available in the form of different tables which shows the amount of one or more nutrients needed by uh, that particular species of animal for a particular function. So these nutrient requirements they are expressed in two different ways. The one is the quantity of a nutrient required per day, like we say an animal require 360 gram of protein on daily basis. Like there is a requirement of 8 megacalorie of energy on daily basis. And the second way of expressing the nutrient requirement is percent of the ration. We have to formulate a complete diet, and within that diet, the proportion or percentage of a particular nutrient should be specified. Like 16% crude protein in a ration, or a ration having 2 megacalorie of energy on per kg unit basis. So these are the two different ways of expressing the nutrient requirements. Most widely used feeding standards in the world, there are many feeding standards. They are available throughout the world, and different countries they have established their own feeding standards for their own animals. So unfortunately, in Pakistan, we do not have established feeding standards for our local cattle and buffalo. We are relying on the feeding standards of either USA, or in case of poultry, we can go for the particular strain feeding standards, or we can use Brazilian feeding standards. So depending on which feeding standard source with a particular type of breed or species or strain, we can use that. We don't have our own. So in USA, there is a National Academy of Science, and they have their National Research Council. They established feeding standard for their own dairy animals on net energy basis. In England, there is AFRC, Agriculture and Food Research Council, for ruminant, particularly dairy. They have their feeding standards for on metabolizable energy basis. Indian scientists also claim for their own feeding standards, but in majority of the cases, those are the Morrison feeding values, and they consider the mid-Morrison values. So in Australia, there is CSIR, or their Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research. They established their own feeding standards. Similarly, French have their National Institute of Agricultural Research, and they have feeding standard for their own animals. The USA is another step ahead. They develop corn and net carbohydrate and protein system for dairy animals. So there is a development in every country for establishing more precise feeding standards. So to get maximum benefit out of animals with limited feed resources. So this is a example of a booklet or the feeding standards in the form of this nutrient requirements of poultry. So this was the latest feeding standards available for poultry from this NRC, and it was published in 1994. There is no other feeding standards or booklet available from NRC about the poultry nutrient requirements. So majority of the poultry producers, they are following the guidelines given by the breeding companies like Cobb, Ross, because these requirements, they are very old, and nutrient requirements of present-day poultry cannot be met by following these NRC feeding standards. So this is just to show how feeding requirements, they are expressed. Like in this case, all the requirements of leghorn type bird, they are expressed in on percentage basis. 18.8% crude protein in the ration. So in case of dairy cattle, NRC have its seventh revised edition. It was published in 2001 with the title Nutrient Requirement of Dairy Cattle. So they have subcommittee on dairy cattle nutrition, committee on animal nutrition, board on agriculture and natural resources, National Research Council. They published these requirements tables or booklet in 2001. So in this requirement table, this is just an example. It's table 14.1, daily nutrient requirement of small breed cow. In early lactation, intake estimated at 11 days in milk values are appropriate for the diet below with 78% TDN. So still requirements in TDN values, they have been mentioned. So according to 15 kg of milk with 4% and 4.5% butterfat, the requirement for true protein, then trimester intake, in case of live weight change, either minus or positive, here is all the values are negative because uh, at 11 days in milk, animal usually lose body weight. So net energy for lactation, here the values, they are on megacalorie basis, not on percent basis. Only the protein, true protein or fat content of the milk, they are on percent basis. And the nutrient requirement in terms of net energy for lactation, that are on megacalorie basis. Human degradable protein gram, human undegradable protein gram. Then the percent of this protein. The crude protein percent, crude protein is values, they are given on percent basis. So both, either the unit or on percentage basis, both are given in a single table. So the CSIRO, Australian Commonwealth Scientific, they have published in 2007 the nutrient requirement of domesticated ruminant. So this publication is based on feeding standards for Australian livestock ruminants. Published in 1990, and then on that basis they published this book in 2007. So USA and then this Australian feeding standards. Similarly, for other countries, those feeding standards, they are available as a guideline for formulating ration. So feeding standards, basically these are the statements of the amount of nutrient required by an animal. Whereas the nutrient requirement is the okay, what an animal on average require for a particular function. How much quantity on an average basis of a particular nutrient for a particular function is required by an animal. That is known as the nutrient requirement. Whereas the term nutrient allowance is different from this nutrient requirement. Allowance is a safety margin above the requirement to allow for variation in requirement between individuals. When we formulate a ration, the nutrient requirements, they are on average basis, whereas some of the animals, they are below the average, and some animals, they are above the average. So their nutrient requirement will always be different. So just to meet the nutrient requirement of those animals which are above uh, than the average of the herd, uh, or on the basis for which we are calculating the nutrient requirements. So we give some safety margin, might be 5%, 10%. We have to check our average and then the particular group for which we are formulating that. Then we decide about the safety margin. So it is above than the required amount of nutrient. So the purpose of giving this allowance to compensate for those animals, yeah, whose nutrient requirements are more than the average. So this graph shows a relationship between proportion of the individuals and increasing intake of a given nutrient. If you look at this graph, here is on the x-axis there is A, B, C, D, E, F. So D is the mean requirement. So when we formulate ration, keeping in view feeding standards and formulating a diet on average nutrient requirement basis, so then majority of the individual will get nutrient at D level. So if there is a little cushion due to some of the animals in the herd, they might have their nutrient requirement less than the mean value. In some of the animal, their requirements might be more than the D. So we can say, okay, if we formulate diet on mean requirement basis, then individual from C up to E level, that is around 68% of the population, their nutrient requirement will definitely be met. So there might be some variation, but in majority of the cases, 68% of the population will get it, desired nutrients. How? Because some of the animals whose nutrient requirement they are less than the mean value, the excess available will be utilized by the animal falling between D and E. So this is up to one standard deviation. But when we calculate more up to two standard deviation, we move from E to F and we increase the nutrient allowance in our ration. Then 97.5% of the population will be benefited. So this is the advantage of adding additional nutrient allowance in the diet. But again, the population from F to G, that is around 2.5% of the total population, they will not be able to get nutrient when we formulate with some additional allowance. So in this case, these animals will be suffered. So the best way is to manage the nutrient allowance in such a way so that all the individuals they get nutrient according to their nutrient requirements. But it could not be possible when we have a large herd and we formulate diet on mean requirement basis or if we add some additional nutrient allowance. So the better is to go for group feeding with small number of animals having more or less similar nutrient requirement on daily basis. Then we can get maximum benefit out of those animals. So here is on the y-axis there is a relationship. There is the performance of the animal, and on the x-axis there is a nutrient level. So this chart shows the optimum intake for average population, that is from F to I. This is the optimum intake for average population. So the individual whose performance is less and we increase the intake of nutrients and we move from A towards the N side. So there is increasing in the amount of nutrients. So the individuals whose performance is less, by giving extra nutrition or by increasing the nutrient level in the diet, we get more production from or better performance for those animals. But these animals they will require excess nutrient intake and they show their maximum performance at J level. But those animals whose performance is like in this case, if they are above than the average population, more than 15, uh, they get their optimum performance at an earlier nutrient intake as compared to the previous one whose performance was less. So And when we increase the intake level from I, there is a drop in the performance of the individual. So this is from this chart, we can conclude that the individuals whose performance is above than the average value, they require less nutrient to attain their maximum performance. And if we increase the nutrient level in their diet, they show a drop in their productivity. On the other hand, the animals whose earlier performance is less, and we increase the intake level or nutrient level in the diet, so they showed a positive response in their performance, but at a very high level of intake. So there are certain limitations of the feeding standards, because feeding standards simply guidelines on the tabulated value. They do not tell us about the economy of the ration, about the diet palatability, about the physical nature of the diet, and then uh, some digestive disturbances that might occur if we strictly follow the feeding standards. Then there is animal differences. We have to consider individual animal for its feeding. Then management and feeding practices they differ from area to area or even from farm to farm. So the same ration might not give you the same performance at two different farms. Chances are there. Similarly, stress factors and diseases, they have a negative impact on the animal performance. So feeding standards usually do not consider these factors when nutrient requirements they are being tabulated. Beneficial effect of feed additives, definitely probiotic or use of prebiotic or many other feed additives, they have a positive impact on the nutrient utilization. So they have not been tested with each and every type of feed stuff, and the nutrient requirement table do not give any idea about the positive effect of these additives. So in some cases, even if we formulate a diet with less nutrients, so by using different enzymes, we can get a better nutrient availability even from the same diet. So all these are the so-called limitations of the feeding standards, but they can be addressed with the experience of a good nutritionist, a good ration formulator, and the feeder. So they can economize the ration, they can check the type of feed stuff and their physical nature at the time of formulation, and they can readjust with the highly palatable or good physical nature of the stuff. They can avoid digestive disturbances. They can, through nutrient allowance, they can manage individual animal differences, and they can put some guideline about the feeding of that particular ration they have formulated. And then they do also consider the stress factors like in heat stress condition or cold stress condition, nutrient requirements definitely be different. So if they are adding certain additives, so they might either decrease the amount of nutrients, or they can use some alternative feed stuffs in the diet. So being a nutritionist, while formulating a diet, we can avoid underfeeding, overfeeding, and we can also check on-farm application of our ration. And for grazing animals, some extra allowance or for their uh, moving allowance, traveling allowance can be added. So we cannot strictly follow the feeding standards of developed countries for the developing countries. Then again, maximum and minimum level of nutrients they must be given due consideration, because corn available like in one area of the country have a little different chemical composition than available in other part of the country. So we have to consider that minimum level of nutrient and maximum level of nutrient for that particular feedstuff in a particular country while formulating the diet. So different terminologies used in different feeding standards. Just to get an idea about the terminology. For the feeding standards, usually they are expressed in quantity of nutrient required per day, as we have discussed earlier. Okay, they are used for animals given exact quantity of a diet. The second, as a percentage of the diet that is used commonly when the diet is fed ad libitum, like in case of broiler, we fed ad libitum, and then we can only manage the percent of the nutrients. Mostly nutrients they are expressed in weight unit like gram or megacalorie per kg, and as a percentage or in some micronutrient cases they are in a parts per million basis. Vitamins are also in milligram or international unit basis. Only the vitamins A, D, E they are expressed on international unit basis depending on their activity of the provitamin and its conversion into the active form of vitamin. In case of protein requirements, normally that is on crude protein basis that is calculated through the determination of nitrogen and multiplying it with 6.25. So it's a combination of crude protein and the nitrogen coming from NPN compound. Sometimes it's a combination of undegradable intake protein and degradable intake protein. Then digestible protein that some of the feeding standards have protein values on digestible protein basis. Then metabolizable or absorbed protein basis, the most recently used method of recently used terminology for this protein nutrient requirements. So it's a calculated value and it is defined as the true protein absorbed by the intestine, supplied by microbial protein coming from the rumen, and undegraded intake dietary protein. So it's a combination of microbial protein and ruminally undegradable protein. So dietary degradable intake protein, dietary protein that is degraded by rumen microorganisms. Then for energy, again there is a partitioning of energy from gross energy into digestible energy minus fecal energy. Uh, uh, Subtracting the fecal energy from gross energy, we get digestible energy. So this is roughly comparable to total digestible nutrient. So when we subtract the urinary energy, we get a value of metabolizable energy. But in case of dairy animal, there is a ruminal fermentation. There is a production of gases, and we have to subtract that loss because production of gas is also a loss of energy. So we get the value of metabolizable energy by subtracting urinary energy and gaseous energy from the digestible energy in case of ruminant animals. Then from metabolizable energy, if we minus heat increment, we get the value of net energy. Heat increment is the waste heat produced during metabolic activity, digestion, during digestion, absorption, and metabolic activities. So these heat do not provide any sort of nutrition to the body except having some warming effect during the cold weather. But in case of hot season, that might be, you can say, a stress factor. We get the value of net energy. But then net energy is further divided into, depending on different functions, it is divided into net energy for maintenance, net energy for production, net energy for work, net energy for lactation. So depending upon the type of function, this net energy can be divided. So I have taken these tables from a booklet where the energy requirement for maintenance they have been given for the dairy cattle. And there is a live weight and then there is a daily energy requirement against the live weight. Like if you look at this live weight, there is a 500 for 500 kg animal. Maintenance energy requirement is 54 megajoule per day. See, and the TDN is 3.8 kg per day. So here the energy requirements are given on metabolizable energy basis. Then comes another table where the nutrient requirement for pregnant animal they have been given during 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th month of pregnancy. That animal require metabolizable energy and TDN differently. So for maintenance and then for pregnancy and then comes for the milk production. Here energy needed per liter of milk of varying composition. Like if we have a 3% fat in the milk with 2.6% protein, animal require 4.5 megajoule of metabolizable energy per liter. Then for different protein concentration and different fat concentrations, we can get the amount of energy in megajoule per liter basis. Then we can multiply it with the amount of milk produced by that animal. Then this is the table where the weight of one condition score on cow of different sizes. Cow approximately, if the live weight is 550 kg, so additional weight to increase one condition score. Like if animal is on two condition score to bring it at three, then animal require 44. Similarly, additional weight to increase by one condition score, animal require 44 kg of this. Amount of energy needed or lost in a 1 kg gain or loss, like during early lactation, animal is losing the body weight, so there is a production of energy in the animal when animal lose weight, and if the animal is gaining weight, then how much energy is needed. So change in the body condition, late lactation, energy needed to gain 1 kg of weight, there is a requirement of 44 megajoule of metabolized energy. Energy available from 1 kg of weight loss at late lactation, there is no weight loss, so that's why the value is 0. Then during the dry period, again, there is no weight loss. So weight loss is particularly during the early lactation. So if animal is losing 1 kg of body weight, so 28 megajoule of energy is metabolizable energy is available in that case. So on metabolizable energy basis, here is the summary. For maintenance, there is a formula for calculating the energy requirement 0.52 into metabolic body weight. Metabolic body weight is the live body weight of an individual raised to power 0.75. In the next slide, I will show how we can calculate this metabolic body weight. Then for milk production, for each liter of milk production, there is a requirement of 5 megajoule of energy, metabolizable energy. So if there is a 1 kg change or gain in the body weight, 44 megajoule of energy is required. Or if there is a loss of 1 kg, then 28 megajoule of energy will be produced. Activity of the animal, if animal is tied, if tied 1 kilometer, then metabolizable energy is 1 megajoule. But if in a hilly area, then for 1 kilometer of traveling, there is a requirement of 5 megajoule. So this tied wing animal is on the plain parasol. We are keeping the animal under tight condition. Pregnancy, during the 6 months, there is a requirement of 8 megajoule, 7 months 10 megajoule, and 8 months 15, and in the 9th month 20 megajoule of energy. So these are the values for calculating the total nutrient requirement of an animal. Like if we have to fulfill first the maintenance requirement of the animal, then we use this equation and we put the live weight of the animal here to calculate the metabolic body weight, and then it should be multiplied by this, then we get the maintenance energy requirement of the animal. So then we have to multiply this 5 with the quantity of milk produced by the animal to get the energy requirement for milk production. Similarly, for live weight gain of loss, and if the animal is showing some activity, or if the animal is pregnant. So by getting all these values at the end, we have to sum up all these values. So that would be the total nutrient requirement of an individual. So this is how we can calculate. This is W raised to power 0.75, where W is the body weight of the animal. Here we suppose that body weight of the animal is 400 kg. So this is 400.75. Then take this weight as 400, put it in the calculator, and then take log of this value. Then multiply the answer with 0.75, and then take anti-log. So in this way, we can get the metabolic weight of an individual. So in 400, if the animal body, live body weight is 400 kg, we should take the log, and then we multiply it with 0.75, and we take the anti-log. So the 400 values become 89.44 kg. So this is the metabolic weight of that animal. So now putting this value in the equation, we can calculate the metabolizable energy value. But in case of we can put this 89.44, and then we multiply it with 0.52, we will get the value of maintenance energy requirement in megajoule for that particular animal. But if we want to calculate net energy requirements rather than calculating the metabolizable energy requirement, then we have to follow this. Here, net energy for lactation requirements are 80 kilocalories per kg metabolic body weight of the animal. So this value also include 10% activity allowance. It means the activity allowance is added, that is at the rate of 10%. So for 100 kg animal, we have calculated the metabolic body weight, that is 89.44. So simply multiply 80 with 89.44, we get the value of 7,155 kilocalories. So this is the amount of net energy required by that particular animal of body weight of 400 kg on daily basis. Or we can convert it into megacalorie, simply divide it with 1000. So 7.15 is the amount of megacalorie of net energy net energy lactation is required for 400 kg animal. So this is the NRC table, so that would be available for calculating. Here you can see this is for 400 kg animal, then 40, 450, 500, 550. So for 400, the net energy for lactation requirement is 7.16. Net energy for metabolizable energy requirement is 12.01. Digestible energy 13. TDN, total protein, calcium, phosphorus, vitamin A and D. So this part of the table shows the maintenance energy requirement. Then comes the maintenance plus 2 months of gestation. So maintenance plus 2 months of gestation. Here I have highlighted the requirement for 500 kg animal. So these requirements, they are almost for energy 30% less, 30% above than the simple maintenance requirement. So then comes the milk production. Here is the milk fat percentage, and against that there are the nutrient requirement. I have highlighted or making a red color for 4% milk, 4% butterfat milk that require 0.74 megacalorie of net energy and 90 gram of crude protein. Next is the live weight change. You can also even add on, particularly during early lactation, if the animal is losing weight, so you can add or subtract the energy which is available from either weight loss or that is required for weight gain. So by using this table, you can calculate the nutrient requirement of the animal. So if you just look at this, here we have calculated for 400 kg animal, there's 7.15 megacalorie. So here is 7.16. So almost the tabulated value and the calculated value, they are the same. So that can be this figure 80 kilocalorie can be used for calculating the energy requirement for the rest of the body weight. If you just simply remember that value, you can calculate without using the table. And similarly for 4% fat, if you just memorize these values, so you can calculate for any quantity of milk production. I will show you next in the next slides. So net energy requirement for pregnancy, they are about 30% higher of that required for maintenance. So 24 kilocalories of net energy lactation per kg of metabolic body weight. So if you just want to calculate for individual body weight, then you can use this figure 24 kilocalories. And the maintenance, that was the 80 kilocalories, and for pregnancy 24, and then at the end you have to sum both values. Milk net energy for lactation requirement for milk. So here is the formula for calculating, or simply you can use the value of 0.74 megacalorie per kg of 4% fat corrected milk. So if you have a milk that contains different percentages of fat, like that is a 3% fat or 6% fat, then you can use this formula 0.4 m. M is the quantity of milk in kg plus 15 f. F is the quantity of milk fat in kg. So this formula will help you to calculate for any quantity of butter fat in a milk. So this is the same table just given a brief for 400 kg and 500 kg animal with 4% butter fat milk nutrient requirement. So by using that table, if the animal body weight is 500 kg, that animal requires 8.46 megacalorie of net energy, 364 grams crude protein 20 gram of phosphorus and 14 gram of 20 gram of calcium and 14 gram of phosphorus. So I have taken this value from this table 264 and 364. So this is just to remember if you memorize these values for 500 kg animal and zero point 0.4 and the second 4% fat corrected milk values, then you can calculate for any body weight for any butter fat content of milk easily rather than remembering or memorizing the other values. So for there is just a guideline, a thumb rule for each 100 kg weight gain, there is a change in net energy value 1.24. Roughly this is 1.24. So you can add or subtract like 400. If you convert from 400 to 500, then you have to add this value to get the net energy for lactation requirement. Then similarly for crude protein, there is a 44 gram, for calcium 4 gram, and for phosphorus 3 gram. So in case of pregnant animal, you have to add 30% extra allowance above the maintenance. Like in this case, there is a 8.46. So you have to calculate the 30% and then that add in this value. You will get the net energy value for that pregnant animal. In case of protein, simply multiply this maintenance to with a factor 2.71. So roughly you can get the protein values. And 4% fat corrected milk, for that there is a requirement of 0.74 megacalorie of net energy, then 90 gram of crude protein, 3.21 calcium, and 1.98 phosphorus. For each half fat corrected milk, like if you convert milk from 4 to 4.5, there is a change in 0.05 megacalorie of net energy and 6 gram of protein. Or other way, you can calculate by using the formula. So this is an example for the calculation of nutrient requirement where the animal is cow, body weight is 500 kg, milk production 15 liter with 3.5% butter fat. So you can directly take these values from the table, and for production again these values they are available for 1 liter of milk production. If you look at this, there is a 3.5% butter fat milk, 0.69 and 84. So simply multiply this 0.69 with the quantity of milk produced, you will get the total amount of nutrients required for the production. Then sum up 8.46 and 10.35. By summing, you will get a value of 18.81. So this is 18.81 is the total net energy requirement, net energy for lactation requirement for that 500 kg. Similar is the protein 1.624 kg. So this is how we can calculate the nutrient requirement of a particular animal. So if the animal is pregnant, then you can go for that particular part of the table where the values for pregnant animals they have been written. So you can like this one. So then you can consider these values for 500 kg animal. So that can be put in that table for having the total. So in that case, you have to write over here the maintenance plus pregnancy value, then production, and then the total value. So this is the nutrient total nutrient required by 500 kg animal. So I just want to explain one thing. In case of dairy animals, for maintenance we always take the net energy for lactation value. We do not go for taking the separate values of net energy for maintenance and net energy for lactation. The reason is, in case of dairy animal, the efficiency of utilization of energy is similar for both functions. Both mean for maintenance, for lactation. So that's why we have a single value of net energy for lactation. But in case of beef animals, we have to go for the separate values, net energy for maintenance and net energy for gain. So this is how we can correct the fat. We can make fat 4% fat corrected milk 0.4 m plus 15 f, quantity of milk in kg, and fat this is 0.4, 15 is the quantity of milk, and 15 into 0.525. This is not the percentage of fat. If you remember, the percentage of fat is 3.5%. So 100 gram of milk contains 3.5 gram fat, 1000 gram will contain 35 gram, as 1 kg contains 35 gram. So the animal is producing 15 liter of milk milk yield of this animal, our animal is 15 kg. So we have to multiply this 35 into 15, we get a value of 525 gram. Here we have to write in kg, so divide this figure with 1000, we get the value of 0.525 kg. So that 0.525 kg is coming from this value. That's the quantity of fat in kg. So now solve this 0.4 into quantity of milk plus 15 into quantity of fat, we get a figure of 13.875. So now this animal have 13.875 liter of milk production with 4% fat. Okay? In actual, this animal is producing 15 liter of milk. This animal is producing 15 liter of milk, but when we convert butter fat from 3.5 to 4%, we get this value. So now for calculation, for nutrient requirement calculation, we will use this value rather than using 15 liter if we consider the nutrient requirement value of 4% butter fat. Look at this table, the maintenance requirement is the same, but for production, we have considered here 4% butter fat. So for 4% butter fat, the requirement is 0.74 for 1 liter of milk production. We will multiply it with 13.87 is the quantity of milk, so that we can get for 15 liter of milk, 15 liter of milk production, that have 3.5% butter fat, right? So then comes the protein. So that requirement is 90 gram. It is converted into kg, and we multiply it with 13.875, so that we have a total amount of protein required for this 4% butter fat milk. So now we sum up. We go for summing up these values. So 8.46 plus 10.264, we get a value of 18.724. Now this sum is almost equal to 18.81, which we have calculated in our previous table regarding net energy for lactation requirement. In protein, in case of protein, we have 1.624 value. Here we get 1.614 against 1. So we might have a little difference, or might be little less or little more value when we convert 3.5% butterfat milk into 4% butterfat. But for the sake of calculation, for a standardized milk, that is 4% fat corrected milk, so it can be easy to remember, and we can do easy calculation for all quantity of butterfat rather than memorizing the value. We don't have any computer at the time of calculation, so then we can use this way of calculating. Or sometimes we have to go for like buffalo, and the buffalo values, they are not available in the feed formulation software available for dairy cattle, or available in different countries of the world. Then we have to go for this conversion factor. So here is an example, and this is also a sort of assignment. You can do calculation for these animals given in the examples I have taken in from some book. For 550 kg animal, and you have that animal is housed with no activity, 6 months of pregnancy, producing 13 liter of milk with 3.6% fat and 3.2% protein. The answer is available, but you have to do your own calculation, so that that could be easy for you. So this is another example where the animal is 1 month after calving with some other change condition. This is another example. So this is for your guideline. This is for your guidelines, so you can use these guidelines for calculating the nutrient requirement of the animal. So thank you.